So my object today was to try and fix this rattle from the door mirrors, and I've not actually managed to fix it. I have managed to remove the entire trim off the door to expose the other side, as you can see there, completely off, and it appears that this may not be a serviceable unit, so you may have to replace the whole thing in a oneer if it gives away. But the good thing is that I managed to remove the entire thing quite easily, and it shows you this in the video. So when you're watching this video, just take that into account. I wasn't expecting to fail, but it is what it is. So hopefully this will still come in useful for somebody who has to do window regulators or something like that. Okay. So this is my Nissan Qashqai j10. It's coming up for winter now, and what I'm going to do is going to go right through the vehicle and making sure it's ready and well maintained for winter. This is my winter checks. The first thing I'm going to do is check the wing mirrors today, and I know there's the problem with the wing mirrors. I'm going to show you what they are. Okay, so you see a bit of movement there, and this side as well we've got a bit of movement. Should they be moving? Well, let's go and compare it to another vehicle. I know it's a Porsche, but you can see that is solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to investigate that and have to open up the panels. I'm going to see if I can avoid taking off the door trim if possible to gain access, because that's just additional work. I'm going to try and just remove the inner trim, and if I can do, great. That will give me access to the screws and or the bolts inside, which may be there. I'm not too sure, but I'm going to go and find them. This set of tools with your trim removers just to gain access to this this area underneath the door panel. I tried to go straight in there and lift up this panel, but I couldn't do it. So what I've done is I've started off with this pointy one here, and just into that corner here underneath, I picked the side which can't be seen, just in case you're going to damage your trim. I force it in just into there, and then I use a little bit wider one once it opened a little bit more, and then so I start in there just in a small edge, and it just deflects the trim enough to get a little bit wider in, and as you can see I just work through the series of these until I'm on there. It takes about a half minute, just starting from the side which can't be seen, just in case you damage the trim. And we're going to lift this off now. You can see it's coming away nicely. That's the trim off beautifully now, no damage to the panel whatsoever, and that will reveal these two little, there will be 10mm bolts in there. There'll be 10mm. You can see they've got a hex screw on it as well, so you can decide which one you're going to pick. I'm just going to use this whatever I've got to hand just to remove that, and that will then allow me to negotiate it out of this handle by maybe just having to open it up a little bit just to allow this whole trim to come through. So let's remove those screws and see where we go. So just the two screws just across there, we're just going to remove these and take them out, and I'll do the same at the one down here and get back to you. So in the end I did actually have to revert to the 10mm socket. It was just going to be too difficult to remove that with a screw, so I've more or less done that. And here I have this little telescopic pen, which magnet pen should I say, which just is perfect for getting these little awkward bits out. So we go in there, we just pull out the screw like that, and then drop it into your magnetic dish just to keep it there. Okay, so that now will allow this to be lifted out. Again, I'm going to be using the trim removers just to ease it out, lift this up, pull it over. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's the door trim almost off. Now this is actually quite a good bit of pulling you're going to have to do, so it's not just going to pop out easily because these are quite deep. So you're going to start from the bottom here, move on to this side down to here. This last little one, you're going to have to pull this door trim out of the way, and if you look at this catch, it can't come out vertically. It has to be guided through that way. So this little one, do not try and pull that one first. This needs to be guided out, and once it's guided out, you can see it just comes off like that. Again, that will reveal the inside, and now we can actually just work around and pull back these poppets all the way around until we get around. Again, I'm going to start from the bottom again because I just want to conceal it. I want to make this as easy as that if I get any trim damage, it's at the bottom of the car sorry about that, at the bottom of the car as opposed to the top of the car. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm not going to disconnect all the cables. I'm going to have a look around at the metal work inside the car to make sure it's nicely sealed, there's no corrosion, but I'm going to try and avoid disconnecting all the cables, because all I want to do is I want to remove this bit here to gain access so I can stop this wobble off the mirror. So what I've found is a nice easy way to get this out. It's actually, there's no easy way. You've got to tap this, and I started from this side here with little skinny ones and just tap them through, and then get the wider ones in, tap tap tap. So you're not leveraging it out, you're just tapping it, and when you do that it just disconnects the popper, and then you just move up a little bit more and just disconnect the popper, and you can see it now starting to go, but I don't want it to drop out. So next thing I'm going to do now, I've loosened it all the way around, I'm just going to lift it out. You can see it just, and then hopefully the remaining poppers will come out. I'm not putting up too much leverage on this side because this looks as if it's it's a material, so I don't want to damage the material, so I'm not putting any leverage. I'm going to rely on this whole thing pulling out and just distorting it enough for those to pop out. So let's try that. So the plan to take it from the bottom was a great idea, because as I lifted it out from the bottom and pulled it through, you can feel there was no attachment, none of these little clips on there. As you can see, they're retained there, so I'm going to have to replace some of those. That one's broken. They should be on the actual on the door card, but nonetheless that's what it is. So I'll need to replace those, the broken ones. That one will be able to lift out, and the way to lift them out is just again using the trim removers. Anyway, I've got access to this area altogether, and now I was trying to disconnect. I wasn't going to disconnect this, but this was just one clip. So ideally what I do is just press that. It's on the other side. Nope, that side. So we press that down, and that should release this module, but it didn't. It was easier just to unclip the whole thing from the door lock. From the I think this is the mirror switch. Yeah. The window switch. It was easier just to unclip it. It just came off naturally, but I was trying to depress that and pull it out, and I'm not a mechanic, I don't have that degree of strength. It's a horrible situation to live with. Anyway, you can see here that I'm just giving a once over to make sure there's no rust on this. 1 second, and over here I noticed that this had popped out. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly just wax this whole area up and make sure it's clean. I'm going to have a look underneath these trims here, and again give them a little wash and a wax over it as well, and I'm looking for any rust or corrosion to make sure that's all intact. The next bit I'm going to remove is this section here at the top, which is where the bolts are. And this section here, it wants to come out from this side and from the underneath, and just wiggle it and you'll feel where it pops out. But just take your time, and there's hopefully these bolts that I want to tighten to get rid of this wobble. Hopefully it's there. Let's find out. Well, here's a surprise. It turns out to be the wobble's further in. So I've disconnected these two bolts here. I've got that one just holding it in, and I've unclipped these two just by pressing these buttons with one of my trim releases and just sliding them out, and that will allow me to take the whole mirror assembly out. So I've lifted the glass off the mirror just using again the trim removers, and just ease it off. It should just easily move off just by taking your time working around them. The last clip, remember, you don't want to just force it out, because that's one you'll always crack, so take your time. And again, I'm still not finding the wobble, or the adjustment for the wobble, so I'm going to keep on. I'm going to remove these two little torque screws here and see if that gains access to anything which will tighten up this area. But as I said, still not actually found out how to actually tighten it up. So I've got the wing mirror in the house, and I've tried to remove the torque screw there and the torque screw there to see if I could get this section out, and it's still locked in solid. It appears to me this is like a non-serviceable part. My next approach would be to drill out these rivets here, here and here, but there doesn't seem to be much depth behind it to actually get new rivets in. So I'm thinking that's a bit of a dangerous go-go. So I don't want to give that a try. So unfortunately, you know, it's a tried my best to actually fix it. I don't know if anybody else can actually do better, but whilst I'm here, I'm going to show you the insides of the unit and how it all comes together. And you can see the heated window elements here as well, how they attach on. But yes, so he's going to have to put this back together again. It looks like it's not going to be a serviceable part. The cost of these is about, I think it's about £180 for a new one. But that is the cost that they're coming in at. And of course, if you've got the little cameras at the bottom, you're going to make sure you've got the camera as well for that. But good, it was a good try, and now I know that it can't be done. So it really is just a matter of seeing how long it lasts. So it's been there 9 years, but when it does fail, you know to actually go and unbolt it, get access to it, and you can just replace it yourself. So unfortunately it didn't work out this time, but there you go.